Welcome to Amp Books 12, everyone. Now, sometimes I go through my library and I think, what would be a great book that I could share a piece of and share that with you guys and hopefully provide some benefit and provide some insight. And sometimes I just go to a book that I need to read myself. And it's been a challenging week for me. I'm not going to lie, that happens. If anybody follows me on my newsletter or follows my work in general, you'll understand that I put myself in challenging positions and I find my way out. And one of my ways out is to go with Anthony de Mello, because he has a way of writing that just cuts through everything. And it's kind of brutal. I mean, you'll listen to what I'm about to read you, and it is really, really challenging, but also beautiful in how direct it is. And that's one of the things that I love. And so as you listen to it, understand that he's representing a very extreme position. But that extreme position very well may be correct. So it really helped me when I read it last night. So I wanted to read it to you guys today. And once again, this is from the book, The Way to Love by Anthony de Mello. The chapter is called Fire on the Earth. If you want to know what it means to be happy, look at a flower, a bird, a child. They are perfect images of the kingdom. For they live from moment to moment in the eternal now with no past and no future. So they are spared the guilt and the anxiety that so torment human beings, and they are full of the sheer joy of living, taking delight not so much in persons or things as in life itself. As long as your happiness is caused or sustained by something or someone outside of you, you are still in the land of the dead. The day you are happy for no reason whatsoever, the day you find yourself taking delight in everything and in nothing, you will know that you have found the land of unending joy called the kingdom. To find the kingdom is the easiest thing in the world, but also the most difficult. Easy because it is all around you and within you, and all you have to do is reach out and take possession of it. Difficult because if you wish to possess the kingdom, you may possess nothing else. That is, you must drop all inward leaning on any person or thing, withdrawing from them forever the power to thrill you or excite you or to give you a feeling of security or well-being. For this, you first need to see with unflinching clarity this simple and shattering truth. Contrary to what your culture and religion have taught you, nothing, but absolutely nothing, can make you happy. The moment you see that, you will stop moving from one job to another, one friend to another, one place, one spiritual technique, one guru to another. None of these things can give you a single minute of happiness. They can only offer you a temporary thrill, a pleasure that initially grows in intensity, then turns into pain if you lose them, and into boredom if you keep them. Think of the numberless persons and things that so excited you in the past. What happened? In every single instance, they ended up by causing you suffering or boredom, did they not? It is absolutely essential that you see this, because till you do, there is no question of your ever finding the kingdom of joy. Mostly, people are not prepared to see till they have suffered repeated disillusionment and sorrow. And even then, only 1 in a million has the desire to see. They just keep going at it, pathetically knocking at the door of other creatures, begging, bowl in hand, craving affection and approval and guidance and power and honor and success. For they obstinately refuse to understand that happiness is not in these things. Fucking Anthony de Mello. So the reason why this is somewhat comforting to me is because in moments where the world has let you down, or at least you perceive the world to have let you down. You perceive something to not be going the way that you want, and you think that if you had acted differently, if they had acted differently, or if something would have happened differently, then you'd be happy and things would all be right and everything would be as it should be. And he's being like, nah, not really. This is just your constant cycle of chasing the thrill until you achieve the thrill. And then once you've achieved the thrill, you'll be back to boredom, or you'll be back to suffering when at the peak of that thrill, it was pulled from you, or at least the fantasy and the projection of what you expect gets removed from you. Because oftentimes it's not even actually the thing itself. It's actually the fantasy of what we think that thing is that is actually taken from us. And that's what causes us so much pain. So when we think about it in a relationship, or we think about anything really, we're not really grieving the thing that we lost. We're grieving the thing that we hoped that thing would be. So when a relationship ends, it's, oh, well, I hope that relationship would be the source of my love for everlasting life, and we would love each other forever, and we'd build this house, and we'd have these kids and all this stuff. And so you have to grieve this whole future fantasy, which hasn't even happened yet. And it's all very real, and that's all very human, and it's all very something that I do all the time, and I think all of us do. But I've often recognized, that this cycle of chasing the thrill, achieving the thrill, being bored with the thrill, is the cycle that we all go through, whether that's buying that new car, or whether that's getting with that, lover that you've had your eye on, or whether it's whatever it might be. So often we follow this cycle. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't ways to refresh the senses, but we cannot deny the forces of hedonic adaptation, right? We cannot deny the forces that once we attain a certain level of pleasure or success, or any of these things that he mentions, once we attain that, then we're going to get used to it, and we're going to take it for granted. And that's when the boredom comes. But if it gets pulled, or we get, redirected, or it doesn't happen the way we want, well, that's when the suffering comes, right? So that's why he's saying it's leading to either boredom or suffering. So where is there happiness? Well, happiness is found within the heart, or found within the whole world, everything and nothing. It's not in one particular thing, but it's in everything. And man, that's really fucking hard. Like, trust me. And I don't even know if it's something that most of us even want. This is something that I've also been meditating. Like, maybe it's worth it to be invested in the polarity of all things, so that we get the thrills, and then try our best to bear and enjoy and learn from the suffering. Maybe that's what we're here for, actually, is to go for the thrills and have those passionate moments and those crazy inflamed feelings, even though it's going to come with that suffering on the backside. Maybe, and just keep seeking out these highs and keep bearing the lows. And I bless that path. I don't have any judgment, and I don't think anybody should have any judgment for the choice to make that your priority, to say no, I'm going to live like a poet, and I'm going to fall in this passionate, deep love with this person, this thing, and I'm going to get crushed and smashed, and then I'm going to go do it again. And we're playing these highs and lows, and that's a reasonable choice. But to find the kingdom, which is that place of everlasting equanimity and joy and true sustainable happiness, well, that's where we can't invest our attachment. If you call back to the last AMP books from Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., you can't have the attachment to these things. You have to, as my friend Ed Skrine says, you have to hold the future very lightly, and hold all things very lightly, and try to appreciate everything in its entirety, which is absolutely, no easy task, because things are sticky, and we're emotional creatures, and these thrills are fun. Like these druggy, he goes on to talk about some of these kind of druggy highs, these druggy, thrilling, intoxicating things that we can get, whether that's a new level of success, or a new level of wealth, or the lover we've been chasing, or all of these things. But the problem is it's very difficult to get out of that once you're on that path and you're used to chasing something. I spoke about it in a newsletter once, where I was talking about, we're all like greyhounds, and we all look for rabbits, and we look to chase those rabbits. And that's part of who we are, is just the one who chases, the greyhound that chases the rabbit. Well, we catch the rabbit, and then we're like, oh, I caught the rabbit. Well, we'll consume it quickly, as a ravenous dog would do, or any kind of creature would do. We'll consume it quickly, and then it's no longer anything but just the bones and fur. And so we have to chase something else. And so we'll be perpetually on this cycle of chasing. And maybe that's okay. But for maybe some of us, and he goes on to talk about this kind of sense of discontent, this fire of divine discontent, in which we realize, like, man, I'm tired of this cycle. And I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm tired of the cycle. Maybe I'm just, taking a pause personally from chasing the thrills. And that's what appeals to me at this moment, because I've had so many highs and so many lows, especially through my relationship adventures more than anything else, but also the business adventures and everything else. And so maybe this is appealing to me now, to just kind of disattach from all of these things that have given me such high thrills, such druggy, intoxicated highs. And I'm not talking about actual drugs. I do occasionally enjoy actual drugs, but I'm talking about the drugs that come endogenously from within us when we're in the process of chasing and acquiring and looking for that deeper peace, the peace of the long nature hike, that long walk, the periods of solace. I remember the joy I felt when I was in Patagonia and just walking by myself out by Lago Sarmiento and just looking at the mountains and feeling moments of just joy for the sheer existence of living. And I think I want some more of those in my life. And so having someone like de Mello reminding me that that is the path, is to disengage and detach from all of these different things that give you these thrill rides. But I also give a little bit of wiggle room for some other potential philosophies like the ones espoused by Carlos Castaneda that talks about controlled folly, an old Toltec wisdom, which says, no, engage in everything, as if it was something that was going to last and something that is really important, but just know that it's your folly. And then that way, when the suffering comes or the boredom comes, you can have that awareness. And I think ultimately that's what all of us should take away from this, is not that you have to take that 1 in a million, as he says, radical path of not engaging in the highs and lows of life, but just have a little bit of awareness. Know that you're chasing, enjoy the thrill, but then when the thrill gets removed, have a little bit of the awareness to go like, oh yeah, of course, here's the low that comes from having the thrill removed from me. And then also when that thing that you've been chasing and you have it for a little while and you get bored of it, don't be like, why am I bored? What's going on? What's wrong with me? Be like, no, that's the normal cycle of things as well. And that's all okay too. So really, I think ultimately this points one way, but really what it points for to all of us is an opportunity to just have a little bit more awareness about human nature, to know that we like to chase the highs, we like to chase all of the different things, all those different thrills, and that inevitably, probably there's going to be suffering and boredom. But if we can have awareness of that process, then we can maybe smooth the corners a little bit. And maybe for some of us, we'll want to go all the way and try to find the kingdom in everything and everywhere. So I hope you enjoyed, maybe you hated, but I hope you enjoyed this AMP Books, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. You guys have probably heard me talking about CBD because it's something that I'm utilizing on a daily basis. I want to talk to you guys first about this Pure Spectrum CBD. They call it their After WOD high concentration CBD balm. There's a full gram, 1,000 milligrams of CBD inside this little tin here, which is a ton of CBD, like way more than you're going to find in most of these different salves that you'll see. And I think they call it after WOD, after workout of the day, because you can put it on your sore muscles and it really makes a difference. So like if you're tight or sore or you really want to work something out, like this has been the best. And also I live in Texas and there's a bunch of mosquitoes out here. And if I get a mosquito bite, which my body does not like mosquitoes, I'll put some of this on. And I don't know if this is like one of like the scientifically proven uses for CBD balm, but absolutely I find a difference and it makes a big difference. And it makes sense, these different properties that are known to reduce inflammation in the body, it works on a lot of different levels and it works for me as well. So this is something that I use pretty regularly after a workout or, when I get a mosquito bite. And then, of course, their CBD that you take in tinctures, that's great internally as well. It's something that I take virtually every night. And there's a variety of different ones. They have the CBD isolates, and then, of course, the tinctures that come in these boxes. And it's awesome. It's US grown hemp, and it's the most tested out of any company that I'm aware of. They've signed a bunch of sports agencies and leagues like CrossFit, USA Triathlon, because they've been so well tested. And it's just really one of the best companies out there. So if you're looking for CBD, definitely check out Pure Spectrum. They got a wide range of products. They're all great. And explore it. See what it does for you. Hopefully it's as beneficial for you as it has been for me. So go to purespectrumcbd.com. Use the code word Aubrey. Save yourself 10%. Again, that's purespectrumcbd.com. Code word Aubrey for 10% off. And thank you again, as always, for supporting me and the podcast by just checking out the sponsors. And if you like it, try it.